Okay, guys, let's take a look at our problems for today. It's our first day of doing the volume of pyramids. All right, so if we take a look at our first example, let's see. If we take a look at our first example, we have what's called a composite figure. A composite figure is a figure that's made up of more than one shape. All right. So, and we want to be able to find the volume, right? How many cubic units does it take to fill that container? All right. So when we do a problem like this, normally I like to start off by numbering figure 1, and we'll call this figure 2. Figure 1 will be the triangular pyramid, and figure 2 will be the triangular prism. All right. So when we find volume of figure 1, it is 1/3 the base area times the height. Because we're looking at a triangular pyramid, the volume of pyramids is 1/3 the volume of the prism. All right. So we use the formula 1/3 base area times height. Well, what's the base area here? Well, the base area of the pyramid is going to be the same as the base area of this prism. Okay? So when we look at our formula, all right, when we look at our formula, let's erase this a bit. I'm going to use the correct color here. All right, we're going to use 1/3. Now, what's the base area? Well, because the base is a triangle, we use 1/2 the base and height of the triangle. Well, the base of the triangle is going to be the 7. The height of the triangle is going to be 6.9. So we have 7 times 6.9. And then we have to multiply by this h here. And this h here is the height of the pyramid. And the height of that pyramid is 9. So we're multiplying 1/3 times 1/2 times 7 times 6.9 times 9. The volume 1 is going to be equal to 72.45, and those are cubic inches. And then we look at volume 2. Volume 2 is going to be the prism. Right? It's going to be this figure here. And volume 2, because it's a prism, we use the base area times the height. Well, what's the base area? The base area for volume 2 is a triangle. So we are using 1/2 the base and the height of the triangle. The base of the triangle is 7, height of the triangle is 6.9. But then, I'm going to slide this over a bit, then we still have to multiply by the height of the prism as it sits on its base. So that h here, this h here, is the height of the prism as it sits on the triangular base. That's going to be 11. So when we multiply 1/2 times 7 times 6.9 times 11 for V2, we get 265.65, and those are cubic inches. Total volume is the sum of V1 and V2. So total volume is equal to the sum of V1 plus V2. So volume is going to be equal to the 72.45 plus the 265.65. So the volume is going to be equal to 338.1, and those are cubic inches. Right? I know problem 1 was a tough one, right? Probably a tough one to start with. Probably should have rearranged the problems so that this was one of the last problems you do. But it's simply two problems in one, right? You have to find the volume of the pyramid, and the volume of the pyramid is 1/3 base area times the height. Then you find the volume of the prism. The prism is the base area times the height. Then you're just going to add those two volumes together, all right? Let's take a look at an easier one, okay? Here, we're looking at the volume of a pyramid, and volume is going to be 1/3 base area times the height. Well, what is that base area? The base area here is a rectangle. So the base area is going to be 3 times 2, right? Let's put those in parentheses, 3 times 2. But then we have the height of the prism, right? This h here, right, is that height here, and that's going to be 3. So when we multiply 1/3 times 3 times 2 times 3, with a calculator, you would do the whole numbers first. 3 times 2 is 6, times 3 is 9, and then divide that by 3. And when you do that, you'll wind up with, let's see, that's going to be, with the calculator, 6 cubic feet. Right? That's going to be 6 cubic feet, right, for volume, and 6 cubic feet. That's going to be answer B, right? And I didn't choose the correct answer here from the one. We'll go back. That's going to be A. All right? So much easier problem. Just remember that when we're finding the volume of any pyramid, it's simply 1/3 the base area times the height. So and with your calculators then, that would mean just taking your base area, multiplying by the height, and then dividing it by 3. Okay? Here's our next example. Once again, we see a pyramid, so I know the volume is going to be 1/3 base area times the height. So my volume is going to be, let's see what we have here. It's going to be 1/3. My base area here is going to be 17. My height here is going to be 4. All right, so with my calculator, I'm going to do 17 times 4. Then I'm going to divide that by 3. And I wind up with 22.6, right? That repeating 6, we know that that's the fractional equivalent for 2/3, right? So my volume here is going to be 22.66666666, and that's 22 2/3, and those are cubic meters. That's answer C. Okay? Let's move on to question 4. Question 4, once again, volume is going to be 1/3 base area times the height. And your volume here, 1/3, your base area, because your base area here is this triangle, right? Just outline it for you, right? That's our base area. Our base area is 1/2 base times height because it's a triangle. So 1/2 of that 4 times 3. And then we have to multiply by the height here, the height of the pyramid, that's going to be the 6. Right? So we multiply 1/3 times 2, 1/2 times 4 times 3 times 6, right? And we wind up with 12, right? The volume is going to be 12 cubic yards, and that's going to be answer C, right? Just make sure, right, the common mistake students make is that they forget to take the 1/3 of the base area times the height, right? And you have to think of these problems in steps. Right, first find the base area for this problem. Well, the base area is a triangle. Triangle area is 1/2 base times height. And then we have to take 1/3 of that base area. And then we have to multiply by the height of the pyramid. So you just think of the problems in steps. And I think that's going to make it a little bit easier. All right, so let's look at this problem in steps. Volume is going to be the base area times the height. Now, what's my base area? My base area here is this square here, right? So my base area is going to be, oops, don't forget about the 1/3 we were just talking about. So it's going to be 1/3 that base area. Well, what's the base area? 5 times 5. So we find the base area, which is 5 times 5, and we take 1/3 of that. Then we have to multiply by the height of the pyramid. Height of the pyramid is going to be 9. So our volume is going to be 5 times 9, and then we divide that by 3, and we wind up with 75 cubic centimeters, which is answer C for problem number 5. Okay? Let's move on to 6. Problem 6 says to find the height of the triangular pyramid when the volume is 318. That should say 318 cubic centimeters. All right, that's a little mistake. That should be 318 cubic centimeters. We write our formula. Volume is going to be 1/3 base area times the height. But for V, instead of writing V, we're told that the volume is 318. So I'm going to replace 318 for V. And then we have 1/3 that base area. Well, the base area is still a triangle, so the area of the triangle is going to be 1/2. Base and height of the triangle are the 29 and the 9. And then we're looking for that H. We're looking for the height of the pyramid. So your next step is to find 29 times 9, then divide that by 2, then divide that answer by 3, and we wind up with, let's see, 43.5. We get 43.5 times H, and then you should recognize that you have a one-step equation with multiplication. So to solve that equation for H, we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to divide both sides of that equation by the 43.5, and we wind up with 7.31 centimeters, and that's going to be my height. And that's answer A for problem 6. All right? Next one, problem 7. Another one of these composite solids. So we're going to split this up into figure 1 and figure 2. Volume 1 is a pyramid. So that's going to be 1/3 base area times the height. So 1/3 the base area times the height. Well, what's the base area? The base area is down here, right? Your base area is going to be that square. So the volume is going to be equal to your base area, which is going to be 12 times 12, right? That's your base area of your pyramid. Then we have to multiply by, right, the height of the pyramid, which is going to be the 9. So when we multiply 1/3 times 12 times 12 times 9, we get 432. Those are cubic inches. Volume 2 is a cube. So volume 2 is going to be your base area times your height. Your base area is simply going to be 12 times 12. And then your height is also 12 here. So for volume 2, when we multiply 12 times 12 times 12, we wind up with 1,728. Right, and those are also cubic inches. Right, your total volume is the sum of those two volumes. So your total volume is going to be equal to, I meant to call that V1, right? V1 plus V2. It's going to be 432 plus the 1,728. And that winds up with a volume of 2,160. Right, and those are cubic inches for problem number 7, and that is which answer? That's answer C. Right? For problem 7, we get answer C. Okay? Well, one more problem today that we had to do. Right? I see another pyramid. Volume is going to be 1/3 base area times the height because we're talking about a pyramid. So volume is going to be equal to 1/3. What's the base area? The base area is this triangle here. So to find the area of the triangle, we need 1/2. The base times the height. Base is going to be 12. Height's going to be 15. And then we multiply that base area times the height of the pyramid, and the height of the pyramid is going to be, right, that 10. So with our calculators, we want to do the 12 times the 15 times the 10, and then divided by 2, divided by 3, and we wind up with 300 cubic yards for the volume. All right? So when you do your problems today and tomorrow, just make sure that when you're finding the volume of a pyramid, we take 1/3 the base area and we multiply that by the height. Now that base area can be either a triangle, then we'd have to take 1/2 of the base times the height. If we're finding the area of the triangle, then we multiply that by 1/3 and then multiply that by the height of the pyramid, or the base could be a square, right, which makes it a little bit easier. Okay? I hope that that's been helpful, and we'll see you soon.